Hey, good morning or good afternoon. I guess it's afternoon. All right, we'll give it just a few minutes for some people to hop on. If you're here live, welcome. If you are watching the replay, comment that you're watching the real replay. I'm really glad you're here. Oh, all right. So welcome to the Monday Reset, where we simply focus on one meaningful move every single week and stop hustling our way in the business. So it's not about hustle. Today's reset is about where your next three closings are hiding. And because one small shift in your business done consistently is going to always be doing all the things. Like, I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, I am over doing all the things, right? So now it's time for business to come to us. So, quick question for you all. I know you can't answer because you're live, but if I told you your next three closings are already in your world, would you believe me? That's my question for you today. So I promise you this, they're not hiding in Zillow Leads or some shiny new CRM or object. They're actually closer than you think. You're just not looking in the right places. So that's what we're going to cover today. I personally feel like agents don't need more leads. They need better leverage of the leads that they already have. So that's what we're going to focus on today. As I've said before, for any of you who've watched me before, I always say 70% of your business is going to come from your follow-up. And I feel like the market rewards follow-up, relationships, consistency, and not panic, right? Because when we show up in panic or scarcity mode, people really can feel the energy from radiating off us. If we show up in scarcity mode, like we don't have enough, or you're nervous about how you're surviving, that energy, people can feel that. So if you've been feeling stuck, discouraged, or like you're spinning your wheels, this training is going to be for you. So anyway, all right. So some of the problems that we're going to talk about solving today are if you feel like you're doing all the right things, but closings feel random. Maybe you don't know who to follow up with, so you kind of follow up with no one, or you start questioning yourself instead of just fixing the system, right? So I say your past is your fastest path. So when I talk about where your next leads are hiding or where your next closings are hiding, your past is your fastest path. So what I mean by that is that your past clients are the low-hanging fruit, right? They already trusted you once. They're way closer to saying yes again than somebody that you might meet off Zillow, okay? So your past clients is the first one. And the referrals don't come from checking in, they come from staying relevant with your past clients. And this is where the touches come in. And when we talk about, how often are you touching your clients, I don't mean in a weird way. I mean how often are you staying in front of your clients in a real human sort of way, not necessarily a realtor sort of way. I always say human first, realtor second. We have to show up really caring about them as human beings before we show up as a realtor, right? So it's just making sure that just as a person, you're checking in and keeping in front of them. So the simple framework is, I call it the reactivation reach out. So it's maybe picking 10 people from my past clients, and it could be past buyers and sellers. Maybe it is buyers who never bought, who I thought were going to buy. it could be sellers who paused. One thing that we do here on our team about, let's see, probably about once a month, we get out we have this pipeline report. And what we just call it a pipeline report because it's kind of our pipeline. So it's any listing appointment that our assistant did paperwork for that we haven't gotten yet. We haven't signed them yet for one reason or other. So we have this big long list of names of, all of my 18 years of real estate, like who did I have an appointment with who did not sign the paperwork. That's my pipeline report. So that's like my listing pipeline report. So, if you think about it this way, every single time I go on an appointment, I go with the paperwork pre-filled out. I always show up ready to take the listing because the one time that you go there without the paperwork is going to be the one time that client is going to want to list and you're going to look unprepared because you don't have the paperwork. The other thing I think it does for me personally is it sets the intention in my mind that I'm going there to take the listing. So this pipeline report that I'm telling you about or talking about is basically it is the list of anyone we've ever had an appointment with who has not signed the listing. Okay, so it's just a really easy way to track it. If I went on an appointment and I didn't get the listing, I should be following up with them later. So I'm going to look at the comments here just to see. Hi, Jolene. Hi, Shauna. Thanks for watching. Okay, so getting back to the pipeline report. Okay, so your goal when you're calling them is not to ask for business, okay? So I personally believe that, like I said before, we're human beings first, realtors second. So if I'm calling to check in on someone, the script might sound something like, hey Jolene, I was thinking about you today. How's everything going with the house? So this is if I'm calling a past client. I'm not going to call Jolene and be like, hey Jolene, it's Jill calling. I'm just checking in to see if you had any real estate needs or if you guys were thinking about moving. It's just calling Jolene to say, hey, I was thinking about you today. How's everything going with the house? Or maybe I might ask Jolene, hey, quick question. Are you still loving where you landed or have things changed? And obviously this isn't, if Jolene just bought the house a month ago, I'm not going to have that conversation with her. This is more for someone who I haven't talked to in a while. When you're sort of feeling them out to see if they have real estate plans or how's everything going with the house, you're not really asking them if they're ready to move. You're just saying, are you still loving the house? And then too, you could say, I'm just doing some planning for the year end and wanted to reconnect with you to see how things were going. So it's really just more about staying top of mind, not really bugging them about real estate. Because part of it too, and this is where the vendor guide comes into play with this, is if I call someone and say, hey Jolene, it's Jill, I just called because I was thinking about you today. How's everything going with the house? Do you find that you're needing any referrals for vendors like, window washers, painters, house cleaners, anything like that? Because the vendor guide